There are two words Prime Ministers never want to hear: sex and scandal. Just ask Malcolm Turnbull, who's been lumbered with cleaning up the political mess caused by his deputy, Barnaby Joyce's personal life. By last Thursday, the PM had had enough of Joyce and his shocking lack of judgment. He mandated improved behaviour from all his colleagues through a ministerial ban on office sex. Now, Malcolm Turnbull has been criticised for being the moral police. He denies that. But one thing he wouldn't deny is his own private life and his unshakable marriage to Lucy, which is in stark contrast to his deputy.
Good afternoon. Ministers, regardless of whether they are married or single, must not engage in sexual relations with their staff.
Malcolm Turnbull telling his ministers how it's going to be. A ban on office sex while ever he's in charge.
I've drawn a line in the sand and in time. And the time is the 15th of February 2018. And after that, there is no grey or ambiguity. It's very clear.
Was that from midnight or last drinks? Or
I think the new code went up at about 6 o'clock, but I'm sure it was from 15th of February. Let's be very clear.
It's been a torrid time for the Prime Minister.
Again, guys.
Taking a hiding over the private life of his philandering deputy, Barnaby Joyce.
Barnaby made a shocking error of judgment in having an affair with a young woman working in his office and appalled all of us.
Can Barnaby, in your opinion, be rehabilitated?
Well, Liz, Barnaby is, he has explained his situation, he's apologised. Time will tell how that is received, but
Do you want him back?
Liz, he is, a partner in government. He's a minister in my government. He's the Deputy Prime Minister. He's the leader of the Nationals. Just want to be very careful because there's been a tendency for people to suggest that I'm trying to influence the Nationals. Absolutely not.
Barnaby suggested that.
Well, it is, I can assure you, and as I've assured him, that is not the case.
For Malcolm Turnbull, it's all gone pear-shaped very quickly.
Hey Liz, how are you? Welcome to Wombat One.
Nice to see you.
Well, good to see you. Well,
Rob?
let's go, yeah? After you.
Only a few weeks ago, we joined him on his prime ministerial jet to Hobart. This is not bad.
See you. Morning.
Back then, there seemed to be very little political turbulence.
Why not see like the 120 super?
21, helicopter traffic.
One of the great privileges of being Prime Minister and one of the great joys is that, wherever you go, people are keen to talk to you. They've got advice to give you about how to run the country and, what's wrong and
Aren't
what's
Australians
right.
good at that?
Yeah, well, that's good.
The PM was in good spirits.
Beautiful Hobart.
Yeah, your day starts.
His biggest challenge was winning back those voters who were becoming ever more judgmental.
Sometimes people say, you're better looking than you are on television, or you're thinner than you are on television, or you're fatter than you are on television.
But as he walked the streets of Hobart,
I'm not the local tourist guide, but Will Hodgman's the Premier.
Malcolm Turnbull was his friendly best,
I'll give you, do you want some advice? Okay.
even giving a little marital advice to honeymooners.
Keep loving each other.
It's a subject the Prime Minister can speak about with authority, given he's been married to Lucy for 38 years.
When I first met Malcolm, he was a journalist, and he was working for the Bulletin and Channel 9 at that time, and he was doing a cover story for the Bulletin about my dad.
It was never good to get on 60 Minutes, though.
No, not
That was to come.
And I met him, and he was so dashing and handsome and funny and great company, so he was irresistible.
At just 25, while studying law at Oxford as a Rhodes Scholar, he and Lucy decided to marry. The local vicar was not so sure.
The vicar said, after we introduced ourselves, he said to Lucy, well, you're a Catholic, Malcolm, you're a Presbyterian. This is a Church of England church. You should go somewhere else. And so I said, now, the Church of England in the United Kingdom is an established church, isn't that right? And he said, yes. I said, OK, so you're a bit like a public servant.
He was being cross-examined.
He said, yes, thinking, where is this heading? And I said, well, you have a solemn duty to prevent fornication in your parish. And I said, Miss Hughes and I are not making any admissions. But we are young, in good health, and sorely tempted.
Lucy was Sydney's first female Lord Mayor. Malcolm, a renowned barrister and businessman. Together they built an empire said to be worth more than $200 million.
I think you told me on the jet you couldn't do this without Lucy. Do you know that?
That's very sweet that he should say that. I think he probably could, but I think we're very close.
I don't think I could. No. No, I couldn't, actually.
But why not?
Well, we're a team. I've always had a greater sense of Lucy and me than I do of me. You know, we are just a very tight team. And
so you don't think of you as you think of me as us?
Yeah, I do.
So what is it? What do you bring, do you think, to his role?
Sanity.
Sanity.
Calm.
Oh, who's the sane one, you or me?
You are so... Lucy is so grounded.
Thank you. And I think you are too.
Well, we're grounded together.
But not stuck.
I feel like I've sort of come into a room I shouldn't have. It's like looking at a couple of lovebirds. I mean, it's truly a strong bond. In fact, I think it's considered an unbreakable bond.
That's the way we see it too. Together, forever.
Yeah.
With a love story like this, we shouldn't be surprised that the Prime Minister has taken a tough stand against what he calls the Boys' Club of Canberra by enforcing his strict new code of conduct. You are blessed with this wonderful marriage and a strong partnership. Did Lucy and you discuss this?
Yeah, Lucy and I talked about this, yes. This is one of those classic issues where it's good to take counsel from your wife, your life partner. Yeah.
And what was her input? What did she feel?
Lucy absolutely agrees. And who would disagree? Look, do we think this? Do we think it's a good idea for ministers to have sexual relations with their staff? No. Well, why don't we just say so? I don't care whether the ministers are married or whether they are single. The minister could be the most eligible bachelor or young woman in the country. And be absolutely free in terms of who they can, have relations with. But if they're a minister in my government, they cannot have sexual relations with their staff.
Of course, the man who did just that was Barnaby Joyce.
And I don't believe people should be resigning in any job over personal issues.
Barnaby suggests that no one should get sacked for personal issues. He has different set of views, clearly. Can you work with someone like that?
Well, I don't know whether that's a fair characterisation of what he said, but let's be very clear. And this is my point. This is why, as Prime Minister, my job is to set my standard, and my standard includes the changes that I made.
Are you all out of love with Barnaby?
The coalition's been around in one form or another for 95 years.
The Liberals and the Nationals are not headed for the divorce court?
No.
And you and Barnaby?
It's been a very long marriage. The Libs and the Nats have been married for even longer than me and Lucy.
But if you could have, would you have sacked him?
Oh, Liz, he is the leader of the National Party. They choose their leaders. The Liberal Party chooses its leaders. We're two separate parties.
I appreciate
and we
that.
work closely together,
yeah.
But we respect each other's autonomy and independence.
Can I ask you this then? Where is your relationship with Barnaby now?
It's frank. It's a frank relationship. I've been speaking to him, I was speaking to him today. It was very massively renovated.
For Australia's first couple,
it's 93 years old.
It's a scandal they'd like to leave behind.
Okay, so should we wander up?
And we do, at the lodge.
So, yeah, that's pretty good. So now we're headed towards the area that you do spend your time in.
The more private part of the house. Are you going to make us tea?
Yeah, of course.
Are you the tea maker?
Oh, yeah.
He's the tea expert.
This is their inner sanctum,
Okay. They look good.
where we discover the PM's lesser-known qualities.
You know what? That temperature is perfect.
It's good.
Is it?
That's
Don't burn
so
your mouth
clever.
off. Yeah.
I can iron, I can clean.
You don't drop your boxes at the end of the bed or anything, do you? I mean, you're neat and tidy generally.
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm that neat and tidy.
The Turnbulls' journey to the lodge hasn't been easy.
I suppose apologise now for all my errors of the past.
Back in 2009, yet another troublesome colleague, Tony Abbott, upset their ambitions when he ousted Malcolm Turnbull as opposition leader.
When you lost your leadership to Tony Abbott, you said at that time it's a moment that could make or break you. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And why did he make it as opposed to being broken?
Oh, well, I think his resilience and his determination.
And your love.
Oh, thank you.
Rude question.
Yeah.
What's your thought on Tony Abbott?
I've known him for a very long time. Yeah. Very sporty.
That's it?
Yeah. I'm sure he's been a very good local member in his electorate.
When Malcolm Turnbull returned the favour, he cited 30 consecutive opinion polls rating Abbott poorly. The jury's out on how the Barnaby Joyce affair will be judged, but right now the Prime Minister is 4 polls away from equalling Abbott's record.
4 more polls. If you make that 30 and you're still not so flash.
Well, I'm sure everyone will have lots to say about that.
But won't you look in the mirror and go, hell, what's gone wrong? Won't you look at yourself and go, OK, something's wrong here?
Liz, the important thing to do is not be self-regarding. If you go into politics and take on tough jobs and expect to be thrown bouquets of flowers all the time, you'll be very disappointed.
Well, what do you feel when the public doesn't love your husband? When they don't get him at all?
Liz, in politics, everybody doesn't love you. That's part of the deal.
But do you feel his pain, though, when he's hurting?
Well, of course.
I don't hurt very much, frankly.
No, but you know, you actually do feel it when somebody's under direct attack that you love and you know that what is being said is completely untrue. Yes, you do feel it. There's no doubt about that.
There's an expectancy on the harbour this morning as though we're going to get a big storm, a few drops of rain.
But despite the negative judgment the job brings and the political storm he's having to weather, the Prime Minister is powering on regardless. He's hoping his strong stance in the Barnaby Joyce affair has convinced the country he's the leader they want.
I think Australians wanted to hear their Prime Minister's heartfelt views about these events. They wanted to know what I felt about them. They wanted to hear it from my lips, but also from my heart.
You told me you had 25 million bosses.
That's true, 25 million employers, or bosses, that's right.
Do you think you were speaking for them?
Yes, I think I was saying you're speaking for 25 million people is a bit presumptuous, but I certainly felt that the values I expressed and the action I took would have the overwhelming endorsement of Australians. I felt it was absolutely the right thing to do.